into this broadcast.
Okay, and
Hello,
you're
WindowWorks. I'm going to accept your invitation.
hello, and we are also live on Facebook.
Hello, Facebook world.
Hello, 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 hello.
And I'm going to bring us down like that. Make us a little, oh no, where did it go? Uh-oh,
Oh,
that's
did we
great.
disappear?
We disappeared, but that's okay. I'll find us again.
Let's see.
Now you get
No.
to the inner workings of all of my folders and files and where to keep everything.
And in Facebook world, I'm going to try to, because we had to go live from my
There
personal.
we are.
I'm going to try to see if we can go push it to the WindowWorks page.
Cool. All right. And I am
No.
going to be joining us live pretty soon too. Send hello, everyone. Send request. Request to join. Request sent. Let's see. Come on. Why wouldn't it?
Nope.
It's not sending the request.
Gotta love it. This is
And request here. It's all right. Go ahead.
episode number 83, and okay.
I'm almost there. I'm joining you in just a second.
All right, guys.
You guys can hear my voice, but here I am.
Hi.
Yay!
Oh wait, but
Hello.
now we lost the screen on Facebook.
Where did it
I
go?
don't know.
I don't know where it went
Did you
either.
lose when you clicked out share screen?
Do you want to hide us for a second and I can
Yeah.
share again?
Okay, sorry guys, we'll be right back. Wow, we're batting 1,000.
Us in just a second. We are definitely starting our broadcast. It takes a few minutes to get all of us together here between Kim and myself and the presentation and the images that we want to share with you. It just takes a little while to get all of it there. So
All
thank you for your
right.
patience.
Hey, Nikki.
Oh, hey, this is Savannah. Join us. All right, awesome. Okay, so we're all here. So without further ado, welcome to episode number 83. And today we are talking about linings. And I have lots of things to show you. I have actual samples of
Yes.
linings, which is cool. And we have pictures for you. So let's just get started.
Okay. So this is a project that we did for JLA. They're an interior design firm based out of Potomac, Maryland, but they also have an office up here in New Jersey. So we do all their New Jersey and New York, Connecticut projects. So this is a project that we did in the city, and we did a blackout, top down, bottom up Roman shade, along with blackout stationary panels. And the reason why we did blackout stationary panels is to kind of hide and help with any of the light gaps that come through. Because when you're talking blackout, this is like a whole nother topic within itself. So today we're just going to talk about lining, but we should tell Steph that we should do a whole blackout episode on the
Okay.
different levels and things like that. But so for here, the client, this is the primary bedroom, and the client wanted the room to be dark for sleeping. So that's why we lined both the stationary panels and the Roman shade with a blackout liner.
Awesome. And so here I have a couple of samples of the actual blackout linings for us. So here's one sample. I'm going to bring it super close to the camera. You can tell probably from the video that this lining is pretty stiff. If I crinkle it up like that, you will see that it really holds all of the crinkles. It gets crinkles super easily. So it's a very stiff type of blackout lining, but that's what this type of blackout lining is. It's supposed to be stiff. It's supposed to be like really strong, and it's supposed to hold its shape. So the place to use this type of strong and stiff blackout lining is in the Roman shades. The reason for that is when it's down, you really want the back of the back of the shade to be kind of perfectly straight. You don't want there to be sort of any huge waves or any I don't want to say imperfections. There's always a little bit of that in any custom anything. But in the window, in a Roman shade, you don't really need the lining to be super soft and pliable. Another reason to use a stiffer lining in Roman shade is when the shade goes up, just like in Kim's picture, you want those creases to be nice and crisp and straight.
And I can show you an example of when that doesn't happen. Hold on. So keep talking. I'm going to use a little Vanna White magic.
Okay. All right. So what I want to show you where the lining really helps to support the Roman shade and the creases and the folds in the Roman shade is where when the lining is also nice and strong and really thick. So as you can see probably here, hopefully from all of these pictures, very, very, very thick, very strong, very stiff. And also when you crinkle it up like that, it really keeps all of those crinkles in it.
So you can see right here, over here, you see where there's like a little dip over there in the Roman. That's what Vita's talking about. That's, you know, that's when you kind of have to dress the drape a little bit in order to, or the Roman, in order for the folds to really get out.
And then another thing that I wanted to show you as far as the blackout lining is a different type of blackout lining. So here is one that I have in store for you right here. This one is called Gemini blackout lining. So we here at Vitalia Inc. purchase most of our linings from Angels, which is a big company specializing specifically in linings. There are other companies as well. There's Hanes, there's United Supply, and there's probably others too that don't come to mind at the moment. But I have to say that even though most of our linings we buy from Angels, this specific one we buy from United Supply, and it's called a Gemini lining. It comes, I believe, in 3 or 4 different colors, but this is its white color, which is actually kind of gray.
Gray, yeah.
Grayish. And some designers actually, some customers do have an issue with that. So this is part of the conversation that we do have. This is a conversation we have part of our whole process, figuring out, you know, what to do with window treatment. So just wanted to show you the difference between this lining. Do you see this is to be used on Roman shades and valances. Does not drape at all. It just it's kind
stiff.
of very stiff. I was going to say it's like stiff as a board, really, versus this lining that is very flowy and pliable and soft. Also, if you crinkle it up like this, doesn't hold any of those crinkles in it at all. So this is actually I believe a budget blackout lining. I think that's what it's called. This is a Gemini blackout lining. This one we used for valances and most Roman shades, sometimes not all of them. This is my go-to blackout line for all of our draperies. So especially if the drape needs to function, it's a functional drape, meaning that it traverses on the window. This is 100% the lining that we go for. Sometimes if we're going for blackout lining just on the sides, just like Kim said, to cover up those light bleed gaps, exactly, we may go for a stiffer lining. But if it's functional drape, it's definitely this one. It's not inexpensive. I mean, budget, luxury, Gemini, budget.
So, and then, I mean, even when you are doing stationary panels, depending on the type of fabric too, you do want to go for that softer hand. Lining is so important especially with the type of face fabric that you're dealing with. Now, we've had it where we've used that liner before, and we've had to show clients that it was a fabric that was a semi-sheer, a white semi-sheer. So as soon as you line it with that Gemma lining, that Gemma, we called it our workroom we call it something different, but it's so funny. Everyone has
everybody calls pleats something different. Everybody calls lining something different.
So with that, it kind of turned the face fabric a little gray. So these are all things that you have to keep in mind when sourcing your fabrics, when sourcing the linings. I will, when I know that it's a semi-sheer fabric, I have like large pieces of lining that I cut to give to the different designers, and I have pieces here to show my retail clients, like, this is what it's going to look like. Once I add a liner to it, the fabric is going to change, especially when you're going with a room darkening fabric, that things
Mhm.
are going to look a little different.
Yep, 100%. So, but you're right. There probably should be an episode just on the blackout
We
aspect
have
of
to.
window
Sorry,
treatments.
we haven't done that for you guys.
Yep. Okay, this next project that I wanted to share with you are Roman shades. And these were sheer Roman shades and they were lined with sheer lining. So this is those Roman shades lifted up. And here's the same Roman shades with them being fully
Put
down.
down.
This project was designed and done for a wonderful design firm that I've talked about many times here on the show, Gasig Design Group,
Mm-hmm.
out of New Hope, Philadelphia, Bucks County. Um, so what I wanted to show you is the sheer lining, and the sheer lining is exactly what it sounds like. It's completely sheer. Now you know, I'm kind of covering myself here and you can see my silhouette through the lining. It's very soft, very pliable. This particular one doesn't have a lot of wrinkles in it. Even if you crinkle it up like that, the wrinkles kind of come out, which is really nice because in the sheer, in the sheer lining with the sheer face fabric, you really see them. So I think one of the questions that we were always asked is if we have a sheer face fabric, do we have to line it with sheer lining? And you know, in the custom world, custom window treatment world, you don't have to do anything.
Nope.
You can do whatever you want. And I think the question is really more about what is best practice. And here again, with sheer Roman shades, I wouldn't even say that it's best practice to use a sheer lining. It just really depends what kind of look you're going for. If you have a beautiful sheer fabric and you want to maintain and really showcase that sheer effect, then of course you don't want to line then it with a blackout lining.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do want to maintain that sheer effect, then sheer lining is the way to go. And even within the sheer linings, there's still, like this particular one is batiste. It's called batiste, and it has, if I bring it super close,
Little
you guys
texture.
can see little texture, little like striations. There's some sheer linings that are like totally clear and they have no texture, no striations, nothing on them. There's some sheer linings that are more opaque. There's some sheer linings that are more sheer. So again, if you go to like Angel's Linings or any other company that has a full line of linings, you will see the different options that you have available for you. But for the time being, for today, I just wanted to show you what a sheer Roman shade can look like with sheer lining there. However, I have to make one distinction here. You may have noticed that even though most of the sheer Roman shade is maintaining its sheer quality, at the very top, the header is actually pretty dark, and it's because it's covered with the blackout lining. So we did the valances. The entire shade is sheer, but the valance we lined in blackout lining. And the blackout lining that we used was that budget blackout that I told you about earlier. So it would be this very stiff type of lining because we wanted the valance on the Roman shape to be very stiff and really hold its shape. Question becomes, why did we line the whole shade in sheer and the valance in blackout? Well, it's because in order for the shade to move, there are actually mechanisms that installed under the headboard behind that valance. And the mechanisms are not very pretty. They're not attractive. And the idea is to hide them. And the sheer lining, by definition, like I just told you, would not be able to hide it, to conceal it. So that's why we lined the valance in the blackout. There could be, you know, anything happening here. Don't see anything behind. And then the rest of the sheer fabric is preserved. The quality is preserved with this sheer lining.
Now, another cool thing about sheer lining is now workrooms will have their standard, you know, white batiste, ivory batiste, white voile, you know, ivory voile. But what we've also done too in the past is we've different brands. Like if you go to like Trends or Mitchell Fabrics, they will have like basic sheers in colors. So this way, if you have a gray fabric that is semi-sheer, but you're like, I don't really want a white lining. You do have the opportunity to get a colored lining to add behind it. So you're not just only limited to white, which is really cool and interesting. So there are, the basic ones that your window treatment specialists and workrooms will provide for you. But then there's also ways, like I know that right now I'm working on a project with a retail client, and the fabric is a champagne color, the
Cool.
face fabric, and she's not sure if she wants to line it, but she's like, I really don't want to line it in white. So now we're trying to figure out which sheer liner will work best, like which shade of champagne. So
Yeah. Fun.
yeah,
Fun.
so there's different ways to do that. So what that's the beauty thing about custom, and a lot of times I don't know, do you run into this, Vida, where you have some clients that are like, do I really need to line my drapes?
Yes, we do it all the time, and the answer is always yes.
Yes.
I mean, unless it's a sheer, not Roman shade, unless it's just a sheer
Yes.
on a large window. I mean,
And
you really wanted that sheer quality.
And the intention is for it to be sheer. Yes, 100%. And it also depends on the properties of the fabric. So like if there's one thing you get out of this, it's my little PSA, my little soapbox that I always say when it comes to linings is lining is like the insurance for your face fabric. Your window treatments are in the window. They are consistently getting sunlight. Sun is the major killer of all fabrics. So why not have a lining that's
insurance
protecting
policy.
Your thing? Yes, you wouldn't drive your car without insurance. You shouldn't hang your drapes without insurance, which is lining. So it's
nicely put. Well said, Kim.
It's not something. It's an added expense in the beginning, but I've seen what happens when you don't line your drapes, and there's no crystal ball that Vida and myself can have to say, well, how long will it be before the sun damages this fabric? Could be, I don't know. There's no way of knowing it. And we had a project here locally in town where it was floor to ceiling windows. We did floor to ceiling drapes. They didn't want to line it. It was for a commercial space. We get it. You wanted to save a little bit of money on the budget. And in 3 years, they called us to replace the shears because it looked like somebody took a knife to them and just created slits in the fabric. It was either that or a cat just, went to town. And as you were touching the fabric, it was literally disintegrating in our hands because the sun kills it. So now when they redid the window treatments, we added a liner to it, and they're still up 10 years later. So it's just, lining is really important. And that's one of the reasons why we wanted to really talk about lining today in the episode and show you the different types of linings and what it can, how it can help enhance your window treatments, but it's also there to protect it.
Definitely. Cool.
Okay.
Let me just do a little kind of a commercial break for anyone who just joined us. You guys, you've joined a window treatment live broadcast. Hey, Robin. This is something that Kim and I do every Friday. We hang out here on Instagram as well as Facebook. We start at 9 a.m.-ish, barring any technical difficulties. But every Friday, Kim and I are here talking shop on all things window treatments, whether it is linings today or hardware last Friday or previous Fridays, different pleats, different types of projects, challenging situations, some of our favorite projects, some of our least favorite projects, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We are here to educate and inspire and just provide information to the design community about all things window treatments, because that is what we're all about. That's what we do 24/7, and it's our passion.
Yes. Okay, so now we are on to a pair of drapes that we did for House of Funk. This is actually one of my favorite projects that I've done with the House of Funk team. And these drapes are lined and interlined. Sandra, the principal and owner of House of Funk, she really loves a very full drape. She wants the room to feel very cozy. And so with this window treatment, she really wanted to line and interline it to kind of get that kind of full feeling, that luxurious interlining. Yes, Fabric Show. We love interlining. Now this is something that we used to do, like it was like standard.
A lot back in the 80s, right?
And even 10 years ago, or even or when I started working for Window Works in 2008, there were times that like a lot of our drapes were lined and interlined. It was just like that
It was
was the
just like a
thing.
standard for you guys.
It was just like, okay, this is what we're doing. I don't
This
know
is
if
what
it
we're gonna
was
do.
the style and the type of designer, like, the more traditional
Interesting.
style
Yeah.
that we were using back
It's
then.
definitely a more traditional
Yeah.
approach to things. And actually, before we go any further, let me just show guys what interlining is. So essentially, it's a flannel material.
Mhm.
It's super fuzzy on one side, super fuzzy on the other side. Very, very soft, very pliable. Let's see if it holds any wrinkles. A little bit, but not a whole lot. Easily pressed. It's usually made out of cotton, and it's really nice to the touch. I mean, if you think of any kind of flannel pajamas or
Like a
anything
little blanket.
flannel, it's just like it's a nice blanket. But the idea is that it just adds that extra layer that is thick and it's good for the R value, which we can talk about that too, meaning like no cold comes in, no heat escapes, and also for the aesthetic, to Kim's earlier point, it just drapes look really fuller. There's also different kinds of these interlinings. What I have as actually pretty thin interlining is just like flannel. I don't have a sample of bump. Now, bump is bump lining, and that's exactly what it sounds like, B-U-M-P. It is super thick. I mean, it could be like a quarter of an inch, maybe even more, very, very thick lining that is used as an interlayer between the face fabric and the back lining.
Now there is a liner that it's like a interlining and a standard lining in one.
I do have a sample of that. Would you like to see?
Yes, please. So when we kind of started to shy away from lined and interlined and having, basically 3 layers of fabric, we switched and started using this kind of combo where um, it has the interlining on one side and then the regular standard lining on the other.
Okay, so let's see if the video will translate.
Yep.
So here is the side that is sateen. So it's just like a standard. So it's one piece of material, but one side is very standard sateen type. It's very smooth, and then the other side is that flannelly side that Kim was referring earlier. So I don't know if you can see. So if I fold it over, can you see the difference between the
little bit,
right here and the sateen part right here? Video, of course, it's hard without actually feeling and touching it. But essentially, to Kim's point, one side is very soft and fuzzy, flannelly. The other side is smooth and sateen type.
So that is another alternative. So we will do that sometimes. And so for the point of interlining too, we've also done it in windows that were drafty, that clients have said, this is really cold, I want to interline it. It's helped. We've done them in like movie theater media rooms to help with sound and whatnot. So there are different ways. Also, by the way, side note, I was with a client the other night and they wanted soundproof drapes.
Really? Yeah. Interesting. And what did you say?
I said, doesn't exist. I'm so sorry.
Yep. That's what I would say too, but I'm like,
No. So because it was for a baby's room, she's like, we want to soundproof the windows. And I just was like, no.
Fabrica Sherburne just said, love it. Are you loving? Tell us what are you loving? You're loving the different types of linings, or are you specifically referring to this?
To that lining.
This particular lining is called, there's 2 different names for it that we've used. There's probably more that I don't even know of. We also buy it from Angels, and one name is Sateen Plus, meaning that it's sateen on one side and plus something else on the other. It's also called napped sateen. Again, sateen on one side and kind of nappy on the other side. And I have to tell you, Kim, our standard lining is this napped sateen lining. That's what we use on all of our drapes, unless specified differently, or there's a different discussion that we have with the designer, where its specific project calls for like a sheer lining or blackout. This is our go-to, because it makes the drape look so much fuller than any kind of standard sateen lining, but without the additional expense and the labor and the fullness. Sometimes bump looks very bump and or interlining looks very, very full, and of course there's place for that, and there's definitely design for that. But by and large, I would say with nowadays us going towards much simpler curtains, streamlined curtains, it's not something that a lot of people want.
The fabric showroom has a question: is it resistible to the sun?
So, I mean, depending on which lining we're talking about, the thinner the lining, the less resistant it is to the sun. The thicker the lining, the more resistant it is. All of the blackout linings are definitely much stronger against the sun. Any kind of sheer batiste voile that is much weaker to the sun. The sun is very, very strong. We oftentimes don't give it enough credit in the way, or maybe we do, maybe too much in many other aspects, like I lather myself with, 50 PSF, PFS, right. Well, like in a way, that's what we have to do for curtains as well. Like we have to protect them. Kim, to your earlier point, it's totally the insurance policy. It's the health policy of the curtains. Over time, the sun will damage everything.
Yeah.
I mean, if you leave the curtain hanging there for a long time, 20, 30, 40 years, the sun will damage everything. Of course, it also depends what side your window faces. Is it northwest? Does it have southwest exposure, or does it have the northeast exposure? But anytime you have really, really strong sun, you really have to think about lining and protection of that drape.
Yeah. Oh, you have 50-degree weathers here in Cyprus in the summer. Wow. Okay, that's a little cold.
Is that where you come from? From Cyprus? That's cool. We have international audience. I'm so excited.
Hi. I mean, it's about 35 degrees here.
And it's snowing.
It's snowing. Hence my hat.
I love the hat.
Yes. Oh, well, hi. Welcome.
Oh, welcome. Yes. Thank you so much for joining us. And Renee earlier said even NASA hasn't solved the UV issue. Yes. Well, if NASA hasn't, I'm sorry, in the window treatment industry, what chance do we stand?
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. It's winter now. Yeah. So, well, it's winter here too. So yeah, it's
a little different. 50 degrees, 20 degrees.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Okay, perfect. So I wanted to show this. I have two pictures actually here.
Okay.
The before, you can clearly see how this master bedroom is not completely appointed yet, and also something else is not installed on the windows. I'm gonna skip that other picture. And here I have a video. Look at that.
Oh, here we go. Anytime we have the
remote, right? We know there's a video coming. We have a wonderful installer who does a really great job on taking good pictures and giving us really good videos. So over time, we have accumulated a really great library of so many images and videos, and some weird pictures, some pictures that you don't want to show to the world because they're like big oopses. We're like, oh. And some really terrific videos and pictures that show off the points that Kim and I are making. So here's just an example. It kind of reinforces the point, Kim, that you were making, I think, in your first picture, where you have this blackout effect. It's in the bedroom, and this is what a true blackout lining can do. But here's something interesting. We talked about light gaps and light bleeds. Take a look at that window. It's black all the way at the top, all the way on the sides, but check it out on the bottom.
You get that gap.
You have the gap. You guys, this is a completely blackout lined window treatments on both Roman shades and the drapery panels. And if you don't have, unless it completely like drops onto the sill and even like folds down on the sill, if it just touches the sill, you will always have that light bleed. Another way of mitigating it with roller shades, Kim, I don't know if you've ever done it. We did it a couple of times. You can put, oh man, what is it called? I forget now, but we'll call it a cuff. It's like a aluminum cuff. You attach it onto the sill.
It's a track.
Well, the track is on. I usually think of track as something on the side.
We just call it a bottom track.
Down. Okay, right. So for lack of a better, I think my vendor called it something different, but whatever it is, essentially it's just a guard, and the shade goes behind it. But the problem is when the shade is up, this guard is constantly, or the track, whatever it is, it's constantly on the window. It's not attractive. So again, so many things to think about there.
So yeah, these are all the conversations that, oh, we are totally going to do a blackout.
A blackout thing. So this picture reminded me of something. Should have put it next to the interlining
Aligning.
conversation. But here to give you guys an idea of what is the same pleat looks like on two different fabrics and two different linings. So this pleat is a double top tack pleat. So you see how it has two folds and it's tacked at the top. But the top picture, that gray blue picture, that was a very thick linen fabric for the face fabric. It was from Kravet. I remember it really well. And that drape was lined and it was interlined. And you see how thick and kind of big and bulky and kind of portly that pleat looks. And then the bottom picture, the floral, that was silk, very thin looking, not looking, but very thin silk fabric.
Tailored.
We had just standard sateen lining there, and you see how the pleat is. It's very skinny, it's very tailored, it's very thin. So here you go. Here's the difference between two different fabrics in terms of face fabric and two different linings too. So again, you guys are designers. You decide what the space looks like and what kind of look and feel you want to give to the client. We're here to educate you and to show you the different options. And you can decide which one you like better.
And even on the technical side, you see the picture from the top, how just voluptuous those pleats are. Now think about if this was, this looks like, just telling by the width of the panel, that it's a stationary panel. But if you are working with a fully functioning drape, and think about how thick those pleats are. At this point now, it's not even the rings that are stopping it, because a lot of times when you're in a ring situation, the thickness of the rings determines your stack back. Here, it would be the thickness of your pleat. So if view, optimizing how much glass you see, these are all conversations that, we have to have with you in order to determine, okay, we get that you want to line and interline it, but you're already dealing with the thick face fabric, which is kind of going to add volume to the pleats on top. And now adding two other layers behind it is also going to prevent it from stacking tightly. So these are all just things that you have to kind of keep in mind with the design. And if you're not, if you're not in the Philadelphia, Bucks County area or New Jersey and New York area, and you're working with another window treatment, a specialist, these are kinds of things that, they should bring to your attention.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So, that was my video. We already watched that. So, all right, you guys, that pretty much concludes our episode here. Before we go and tell you about some of the free gifts that we always have in store for you, the one thing that I wanted to mention is it's if you are a window treatment specialist, if you do have a workroom, then you have linings at your disposal at any time. So that's easy. Like that's what we have. Like this morning I went over into my workroom, which is, just 2 steps down. And I'm like, okay, which linings do I need to cut off? Took out the bolts, cut them off, easy enough. If you're a window treatment specialist who doesn't have their own workroom, I would really highly recommend that you have your workroom cut off samples of the different linings so that you can use it on your appointments, and so you can also send it to your designer so that they can decide what they like and don't like. Now, some of our existing, like kind of old, not old designers, but the ones that we've been working with for a long time.
Your seasoned players.
Right. They know what they like. We have one firm, Meadowbank Designs, a wonderful firm on the main line, Philadelphia. They love interlining. I mean, they're a much more traditional firm. Their draperies have that traditional look. They know they like interlining, and that's pretty much usually what they ask for, unless it's an exception. And then we have some other designers that are like, nope, as thin as we can possibly get it. So some designers already know what they like, but some newer designers, whether they are newer to you or whether they're newer to the scene, they don't know yet. They may not have listened to this episode yet. And they just didn't get the education on lining. So it becomes up to you, the window treatment specialist, to educate them you can send them this episode, and you can also provide them with your own lining samples. And if an interior designer listening to us, you have a wealth of knowledge now to understand what kind of lining to choose on your future project.
Alrighty, everyone. So before we let you go, the free goodie that WindowWorks has on our website, if you are new to window treatments and you just don't know where to start, Luann wrote an ebook. Architectural Digest is incoming. 10 things you need to know about custom window treatments. If you head on over to the WindowWorks website, you can download your free copy today.
And from Vitalia Inc., we also have a free gift for you guys. It's a curated lookbook filled with inspiration and education. We call it 37 and a half design ideas, window treatment design ideas for you to steal, swipe, and use immediately on your next design project. And you can grab yours on vitaliainc.com. Thanks so much, Robin, for joining us. And thank you, Eaton Interiors. Thank you, guys.
You. And to keep up with all things Miss Luann, because she has a lot of exciting things happening in the next couple months, head on over to luannniagara.com, where you could also listen to the audio version of our Window Treatment Friday Live, where, you know, it started all with the podcast with Vida and Luann's episodes that they do. When's your next episode coming out?
It's February 11th, it's dropping, and it's all about pricing. So that's going to be really interesting. It's going to be a 3-part series, and we're starting with some pricing basics, things like margin and markup, and like some P&L type of aspects, a little bit of math there. I'm hoping I'm not going to lose you guys in the episode, but we're going to start with that. And then our next one in the series will be about how to price window treatments. How much should they cost? How much should you charge for them? So that will be a real juicy one.
Yes. Alrighty.
All right, you guys. So if you are in the Philadelphia area, if you're an interior designer looking for support with your custom window treatment projects, we are that firm for you. We are your player. We are a full service as far as window treatments go, white glove service, concierge level service. We are your go-to resource for all things window treatments, exclusively for interior designers ready to fly first class in the world of window treatments. So call me, DM me, PM me, email me. I'm happy to support you on your next project.
And if you are in the New Jersey or New York area and you have a question on how to line your window treatments, please give WindowWorks a call. We would be happy to help you on your next window treatment and or awning project, because despite the fact that it's snowing outside, summer will be here in the blink of an eye. So if you want your awning, give us a call today so we can make sure we have it up for you in the summer.
Awesome. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Join us every single Friday at 9 a.m. as Kim and I geek out on all things window treatments. Right, Kim?
Right. Absolutely. Have a great weekend. And if you are in our area, stay safe. And hopefully we get a little snowy Saturday.
That's what my kids want.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.